The Struggling Artist Record Club is a vinyl record subscription service where I hunt and curate the best punk and punk-adjacent music out there and mail their record to your door each and every month. Imagine finding your new favorite band from across the country without ever having to leave the house. It doesn't get much better than that. The excitement of discovering new music just got that much easier. As a member of the Struggling Artist Record Club, you are going to receive some of the best music you've ever heard from bands you may never even heard of. Whether you've been collecting records for years or just starting out, the Struggling Artist Record Club is designed specifically for you. And right now, all new members get a Struggling Artist Record Club exclusive along with the monthly selection. So head to StrugglingArtistRecordClub.com, pick a membership, and start building that collection today.
Welcome to the Struggling Artist Record Club recap for November's band called 40 Reps. So we did introductions and all that last episode, but in case you missed it or forgot, let's do a quick review. My name is Dave and my co-host is Ryan. Ryan, how long have you been a member of the club? I know Trev took it over a few years ago, so before that would have been Mark and the Get Punk. If you remember the approximate year and what record was sent to you.
My membership was a little bit sporadic through Mark's tenure for the club, and the earliest one I could find with a readout was Iron Chic. My mind just went blank on the title or the record, but it's from September 2019.
It's a great album, definitely.
I think I have a couple others from that year as well that might be missing the readouts.
Yeah.
So I think 2019's close enough.
Right. So I've been a member since 2019 as well, April of 2019. That month, the record was Coffin Salesman. I remember being a little confused because I was expecting something like street punk. You know, most of Mark's stuff on his website was street punk oriented. So I figured, we're going to get some street punk here. So after listening to Coffin Salesman, I thought, well, it's not street punk, but it's interesting. Then over the next month, I found myself just not being able to put it down. I kept listening to it over and over and over and reading the lyrics, which came in like a cool magazine format. I ended up becoming a big fan of Coffin Salesman. And then, of course, Trev sent out the new Coffin Salesman this past year, which I loved. Everyone seemed to like that album a lot. That's basically why I have not missed a single month since then. So it's almost 6 years straight of enjoying, I call them the monthly mystery records. It's almost, I just love when the mailman comes and I see that record. I have no idea what it's going to be. It's pretty much the highlight of my week when, you're in your 40s and all you do is work. You're like, oh, I'm going to get a mystery record. What the hell is it going to be?
Yeah.
So
that was always great. When
exactly.
The post office would actually deliver my records.
I know. I know you had some trouble in the past, right?
Yeah.
So, now we've also received a text from the artist known as Tim, who was the record club's October selection. So Ryan, if you want to read that.
Yeah. So Tim said, I really appreciate all the kind words. I needed a lift. I'm glad the album connected with the new fellas. The songs aren't pro-religion if that's a hang-up, though. Very much not, actually. But to be fair, people would know that if I had provided lyric sheets. Yeah.
So now that's based off of, as always, if you listen, I always make a comment about lyric sheets. So of course I had to last time. So he's just basically saying,
Yeah.
you would know if I was provided a lyric sheet. So anyway,
Yeah. And I think in his defense, I might have, after hearing it a couple times, I might have just tuned out because I
yeah,
didn't
yeah,
have the lyric sheets. So yeah, after hearing that, I need to go back and give him a good listen again.
right, yeah,
Uh, Continues. I'm glad they liked it. That fella said he liked Praying for Rain until he realized it felt like a bad memory. That's how my whole album makes me feel. And yeah, that's that's kind of what I was taking away from the record myself.
right.
Um, Tim continues, I've got material ready to record, but I've just been staring at it for weeks because I dread digging in. I'm really happy it's connecting with people. Uh, Again, to interrupt his message, I've got something that I want to write as well, but it's a little bit dark and I'm dreading it. So I keep putting it off, but maybe one day I'll get to it. Maybe during
Yeah,
the holidays.
yeah, it can be a big process and
Yeah.
emotionally draining as well.
Yeah. And then Tim mentions he'll be back in the club soon. Um, I think he's mentioning the name of the artist, Anita
Right.
Inverarity. I
Yeah, I think that's it.
butchered that name.
I think that's
She
what it
did
is.
the
Yeah.
art. She does a lot of tarot card art, and he agrees that the album covers should be eye-catching. It's part of the piece of work. The
I
dog.
had, sorry to interrupt. I
Yeah.
had
No.
mentioned that
Yeah. Go ahead.
I absolutely loved the cover
Oh
art
yeah.
for Tim. It was just really amazing. And I just mentioned how I really appreciate when artists put a lot into the cover art. When
Yeah.
they do that, I pretty much put that record, I work at home. So I put that record kind of someplace I can look at it for like that next month because I'm just like, man, that looks so cool.
Yeah. And then you're gonna play it more
Right. Exactly. I
because it's
do
right
agree.
there.
Yeah. Right.
Tim mentioned the dog is white in the first albums, but turns brown on 3. His dog died, so so they put him on the 3's cover. Original dog is from the original 1900s tarot deck. The lady on part 2 is a grandmother who died during COVID. That sucks. Thanks again, y'all. So, yeah, thanks, Tim, for the feedback and letting us know some more information about that. Because,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah. We appreciate that input, Tim. We all like the album a lot. So now I'm going to go ahead and read out the November readout that came along with the 40 Reps album. So this is from Treb. Obviously, if you got the record, you already heard this, but if you didn't, we'll go ahead and read it. It's so 40 Reps from Richmond, Virginia, got onto my radar a few years back. And from the name alone, I thought it was going to be some testosterone driven hardcore to lift weights to. I couldn't have been happily more wrong. Upon listening to Heads Up for the first time, what I got was emotionally driven punk rock that gives a smidge of attitude and amps me up every time I listen to it. The tracks Looking for Trouble, Small Town Blues, and the title track, Heads Up, are all killers. And the rest doesn't disappoint either. This one is a never skip a track record for sure. They were on my struggling artist turntable favorite discovery of 2024 list, as well as my favorite band to see at this past year's Pooza Fest. I didn't know what to expect from them live, but what I got was feeling the emotion of this music while screaming along to the lyrics from the moment they started to play till the set was over. I sat patiently till this one was released on vinyl, which thanks to Say10 Records, it did. They released it last month. I hope you all enjoy this one as much as I do. Treb. Yeah, Treb, we definitely enjoy this record a lot, and we appreciate you selecting it. So now we'd like to do a readout from, or not a readout, but a text or a post online from Jerky Bill. So, if Ryan, if you want to do that.
Yeah, Jerky Bill wrote, I believe Tread mentioned it was on Threads, to let everybody know Struggling Artist does a monthly subscription for punk and punk adjacent independent vinyl. This month, a hard-edged Richmond, Virginia band called 40 Reps sides with a grizzled hard rock I've seen a shitload and I'm going to tell you about it vibe. Weathered voice on the lyrics, took a listen to some of their earlier stuff, and this. It sounds like they have matured into the kind of band with an entire section of Virginia waiting for their next show. The music is storied and mature. Last month's choice, a more C&W selection, was not in my wheelhouse. Sorry, Trev, but not everything can be a home run. It's true. This, though, a storybook of inner city punk with a Richmond twang. Very nice. Yeah,
Cool.
that's. Thank you for the review, Jerky Bill.
Yeah. Yep. We want to give a shout out to Brendan Massachusetts, who was a club member. Trev ran into him at a show last week. He explained to Trev that he loves both the club and the podcast. He was a big fan of the Little Low record. Brendan, feel free to let us know more how you feel about each month's records. This goes out to everybody as well. If you write a review for 3 months in a row, and we will have you on the show. So send in those reviews and you will get on the podcast.
Yes. Speaking of Little Low, last month I mentioned I didn't really spend too much time with that record. But over my Thanksgiving break, I was digitizing some of my vinyl because I've got a home assistant server, and you can stream music to it, and my receiver happens to be compatible. So I've got it set up where as soon as I come home, I've got music playing. So I took the Little Low record, and now it's included in the mix. That will just
Oh,
play
nice.
randomly when I get home. So spent some time with it. Yeah, I'm digging it. I still need to listen to it a little bit more, but now that I have a digital copy that I can put on my phone, take with me to work, I listened to it today at work again too.
Yeah, those
So
female vocals are just outstanding on that Little Low record.
yeah, no, it was good. I liked it. Definitely glad I went back and reviewed it. Gave it a second chance.
I remember listening to it for a few weeks consecutively, so it was really, really strong album there.
Yeah. Okay. I guess now's the time to talk about 40 reps. Heads up. I think I got that title right.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, my first impression of it, it was guitar-driven punk rock. The energy that comes out on the recording sounds like it would be great at a live show. So, in Trev's readout, he mentions he saw them and loved it at the live show. I think that would make the experience much better.
Yeah.
And probably give a better user experience when listening to the record after seeing them live. I didn't do my usual track by track because, as you're going to mention shortly, there were no lyrics.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, I didn't have the energy to try to listen to it and write down some of the lyrics. I mean, there were some good ones, and I think I saw your preview, and you're going to be mentioning a lot of the stuff I was going to bring up anyway. So I'll let you cover all that. I won't steal it from you.
Yeah.
One of the things I really liked about it, and I'm not technical on the music side, so I don't know if this is the right term, but the way the album was mixed, I think that's the term, where the singing and the lyrics were kind of more on top than muddied up behind guitars and drums. So you can still hear the lyrics pretty clearly, which when you don't have a lyric sheet, that's kind of nice.
Yeah.
One of the things I noticed, was that it seemed like most of the songs had a little bit of a guitar solo going on. Maybe not all of them, but it seemed like a significant amount. And that also led to the length of the songs. Two of them were just over 3 minutes. The rest were very close to 4 or up to 4.5 or so.
The rhythm guitar just sounded so great. I love that rhythm guitar a lot.
Yeah.
I was really impressed with that.
No, it was great. Love the music and everything, but it got a little bit, repetitive is not quite the right word for that, but I don't feel you need a guitar solo in every song, and so for me, it felt that way a little bit, but I'm just someone who listens to music. I don't know how to write it or anything, so I can't complain that much.
Well, I agree. I do mention the a little bit of the repetitive side on my review, so
Yeah,
I do agree. And basically, what I said and what I will say is, I thought if they would have included Rebecca, the bass player, because she sings on White Picket Fences, and I thought that was ended up being one of my favorite songs. I felt like she was underused. I think if they
I
would have
agree with
added
that.
her, because especially when you have songs that are 3 to 4 minutes long, you really, if you're going to go that way, you need almost like to add some kind of different instrument, different singing. So I thought her singing was just outstanding. So I thought she could have been used on a few more songs.
Yeah, one of the other things that felt a little repetitive to me was kind of the trailing vocals at the end of a lot of the lines in the lyrics. It wasn't bad or anything. It just, again, kind of like a guitar solo in every song. It didn't seem necessary, but it didn't, I wouldn't say it detracts from it. It just made it feel slightly more repetitive.
I know I heard when I listened to them on a podcast, he said he was kind of trying, as for the sound of his voice, kind of going after Ben Nichols of Lucerio, kind of that gruff.
Okay.
Um, and then also Lauren Jane Grace of Against Me, kind of that combination of both of them. That was kind of the vocal stylings he was aiming for, which I think he definitely achieved with.
Yeah. And then I think the last thing I wanted to say from my side was if you want to listen to a rock and roll record, put this one on and you're going to dig it. Um, for me personally, because of some of the lengths of the songs, I think it'd be great in a mix. When I hit shuffle, like on my streaming server, it'll fit in nicely.
Yeah.
So yeah, I enjoyed the record. Um, yeah, it was a good record. Good pick, Trev.
Cool. So, if you're familiar with my reviews, they tend to be a bit on the long side. So, I'll go ahead and get started. So the album starts with the lyrics, "Late, late, I've been inside my head, cut off my friends, warm beer for my cold hands, hard habits for a soft man." The rest of the lyrics go on to describe how life is always a struggle and a battle, but you can't let it defeat you. The chorus includes the line, "You got to keep your head up, kid." I always say music saved my life, and I still believe that. That line, "You got to keep your head up, kid," really means a lot to me. I've dealt with anxiety for about 32 years. While other people were doing normal things, I was locked away inside my head just listening to punk rock records. I wanted to be social, but my anxiety was always too crippling. So I ended up just depending on punk rock music to get me through each day. When things felt sour and shitty, I would put on an album and it would make me feel better. So when bands sing lines like "You gotta keep your head up, kid," and other similar lyrics, it gives me the courage to stay afloat and not drown. It makes me realize this tough time is just temporary. Things will get better. Just need to weather the storm and realize that things will always get better one day. And one of the great things about being low is that you will always feel better at some point, and that's going to feel really good. Um, most of life is doing things you don't like: school, jobs, errands, dentists, doctors, bills. So I always gravitated towards music that would motivate me to do all the crap that you don't want to do. About 90% of life is doing dumb, annoying stuff. This is why having fast melodic punk in my ears telling me, yeah, it sucks, but you just can't give up. You need to fight so you can enjoy the free time that you do get. So that was always huge for me when bands, their lyrics were oriented towards that. That's why I always enjoy lyrics about daily life rather than political lyrics or songs about history or monsters or other topics I can't relate to. Those don't motivate me to deal with life. When I wake up with anxiety or a hangover and have to work the next 10 hours, music about how the government sucks doesn't get me in the mood to face the day. It's depressing to hear about how career politicians that make around $200,000 a year somehow become millionaires. Why is that? Well, obviously they're stealing our money. So that lyrical topic doesn't really get me motivated to face the day. If anything, it makes me less motivated because I end up not caring about anything. Lyrics about what I'm dealing with now, a long, stupid, annoying day, and how we must not give up. This is what always helped me get through the day. Bands like Pennywise, H2O, Avail, Social Distortion, Plow United, Rancid, Operation Ivy, and Face to Face, they all sung about real life in a fast, melodic way. That gave me motivation and energy to manage my life despite anxiety. Anytime I don't feel like doing something, which is all the time, I put on some fast melodic punk songs and it's like a volt of electricity. I get energy and instantly I'm in a good mood. I found this to be the case with 40 Reps. Anytime I put this album on the past month, I instantly felt better. I got bursts of energy like drinking coffee and I was able to get stuff done around the house, which is mostly what being an adult is. Back to the lyric of I've been inside my head. Being stuck inside your head is one of the worst parts of anxiety. Constantly thinking, what's wrong with me? Am I going to be okay? Why is my heart racing? Why does my stomach hurt? Why am I dizzy? What I didn't know because no one told me or I refused to listen is that the worst thing you can do is stay stuck inside your head. The more you think about your symptoms and worry, the worse it gets. You're just adding fuel to the fire. What I've learned recently is the best way to deal with anxiety is to get it out of your head, to get out of your head. It's not healthy to constantly be thinking, am I safe? Am I dying? Why am I feeling this way? Will I ever feel normal? See, you're not broken and anxiety will never kill you. You can't die from anxiety. It's just an overactive nervous system. Really means that you care too much. When you have anxiety, it's important to never get upset. That only makes it worse. Plus, you can't get rid of anxiety completely. Humans developed it to deal with dangers like tigers. Anxiety is something we need, so the best thing is to realize it's normal and just let it pass. The less you care about it, the better. I know it's tough when it's anxiety strong. How do you not care about something so uncomfortable? It just takes time and practice. The human brain's thoughts are about 70% negative. The brain doesn't care about making us happy. It only cares about protecting us and keeping us safe. Since tigers attacking us no longer exists, we don't need to be on edge all the time. So like 40 Reps says, you got to keep your head up, kid. Now, I send people lists on how to deal with anxiety all the time. If you're ever interested, hit me up at goodnight-13@hotmail.com and I'll send you a list of ways you can cope. I know it's easy to just take a pill from a doctor or use drugs and alcohol, but I think it's a lot more punk rock to avoid big pharma where some creepy scientists make formulas inside a Chinese lab. There are tons of ways to deal with it naturally. The rest of this album deals with the human condition, relationships, and all that. There's no lyric sheet, so it's tough to tell exactly what the subject matter is about. The singer, like I mentioned earlier, sounds like a mix between Ben Nichols of Lucirio and Laura Jane Grace of Against Me, which are two of my favorite singers, so I love the vocal delivery on this album. But you can't always hear every word, you just catch words here and there. That's why you need a lyric sheet. I connect more with albums when I can read the lyrics while listening. And isn't that the whole point of releasing music, so audiences can connect with it? So when there are no lyrics, people will be connecting with it less. I feel like this album combines four bands I like a lot: Gaslight Anthem, Against Me, The Flatliners, and Lucirio. Then they try and add their own flavor and seasonings and spices and sauces and delivers it up for us to consume and devour with wild appetites or something like that. My only criticism, besides no lyrics, is what Ryan was mentioning earlier, and that's in the fourth song called Hard Habits. At over 4 minutes long, it drags out a bit. I feel like they should have used the bass player's vocals on this one toward the end of the song. See, she sings background vocals on the song White Picket Fence, which happens to be one of my favorite songs because of her vocals. So I think Rebecca should sing on more songs. Adding her to the end of the song Hard Habits instead of the same chorus and verse over and over would sound amazing. Next album, more Rebecca singing. Her voice is amazing. This album was released in November 2023 on cassette and released on vinyl just this past month. At least I think. I'm not exactly positive. Trev will be releasing his interview with them soon, so you can listen to that and find out exactly how it went and find out a bunch of other cool info. Like Trev said in the readout, the band is from Richmond, Virginia, and it formed in 2020 during COVID. The color of the vinyl is really cool. It's like a tan and black swirl, which goes really well with the album cover art. Just needs a lyric sheet, and it would be the perfect package.
I'm gonna say one other thing to make a perfect package. I think it should also include a Bandcamp download card
Right.
because having a digital copy, it's more likely to go on my phone so I can listen to it anywhere. I don't use Spotify or any of the other apps. I used to live somewhere with really bad internet, so I want everything local. Physical copies, everything locally stored. So give me a digital copy I can take.
Now, I've got some bad news for you on that front. I buy a lot of records, and seems to be a thing of the past these days, adding the digital. It's becoming less and less, but it's not. Maybe 40% of albums I get have it, versus I feel
Yeah.
like 3-4 years ago, it was like 80 or 90%. And it's supposed to be because of Spotify, like people just, or Apple Music, or that. It just seems like it's of less importance.
Yeah, and I don't want MP3s anymore. I want the high quality FLAC downloads, which is why I mentioned Bandcamp because they do offer them. And most of the albums that I buy, well, at this point, every album I've purchased on Bandcamp, I've got a FLAC file from everything. So all of those are in my list to get played when I get home.
I'll have to follow you on Bandcamp then.
Yeah.
So,
In fact, I heard 40 reps a bit earlier, and it was probably like from Trev's readout when they were on the Struggling Artist turntable. So I actually had 40 reps digitally already. I picked them up probably about a year ago.
oh,
So
nice.
I had this album, and it's on my file server already. So I've been listening to it, and
Yeah, so
I
it was released a few years ago, so yeah.
yeah. But I do still enjoy putting the needle on the record, even if I have a digital copy. But it
Right.
takes more time. If I'm making dinner or something, I can just play a playlist randomly.
Right. I know I'm fortunate enough where I work at home, so basically I just listen to records once I start work and all day long. But
Ugh,
then that becomes kind of an issue because at the end of the day, there's records everywhere, and there's like I include different things inside my records, like interviews and the readouts and
oh,
concert
nice.
tickets. So basically, when you open a record, all these different things fall out, stickers. By the end of the day, my whole office takes about half an hour to clean everything back up, and just becomes, because I'll be like in the middle of working, I'll be like, oh shit, I wouldn't mind listening to this record. I grab it, pull it out, and it just becomes a mess. So
Yeah, I remember early on in COVID, I was able to work from home and I would listen to records and I felt a lot more productive.
yeah,
I could
yeah,
get into a flow state and just keep going. But
yeah. I
yeah,
agree.
sitting in an
Sometimes,
office
sometimes I
doesn't
won't.
work.
Sometimes I won't even flip the record. I just go ahead and leave it on that side. Just because the one problem with Seven Cats is there's always, when I flip a record, I generally have to get my brush out, and clean it. But if
Yeah.
I clean it on one side, then I could just keep listening to that one side over and over versus having to flip it, getting the brush out, clean off the damn cat hair.
It sounds like it's not one problem with seven cats. It's more like seven problems.
Yeah. It's it's just, yeah, I mean, it's like you said, it's a little more convenient to have
Yeah.
the digital.
Yeah.
So um so Say 10 Records released this. If you're not familiar with Say 10 Records, look them up and order some stuff. They have a huge distro of a lot of cool albums. They're constantly releasing new stuff as well. I order from them a few times a year. I think my last one was the new Rebelmatic album. Then I picked up a bunch of other stuff. Um, so yeah, are you familiar with their website and ordering from them at all, Ryan?
I don't recall ever ordering from them before, but I did
Right.
take a look at their site
Yeah.
and I did see a few things that I will probably go back and pick up. Um, yeah, probably next week.
And what's interesting too about them is they tell you how much, the exact amount of stock they have left.
Oh
So
yeah, I like that.
if you see something you like and you don't have the funds right now, but it says they have 200, well,
Yeah.
you can wait a little bit versus, if you see something you really like, they don't tell you how much. Well, they could have two left. And you might be like, shit, I need to put it on my credit card. I need a credit card. You don't have money for that.
The guy Trev interviewed sometime within the last month or so. I can't remember if it's DCX,
Oh, yeah,
PCX,
yeah, yeah,
whatever.
DC, yeah,
Yeah.
DC
I'm
Live.
I already put in like 4 orders from them, and
Oh,
they
wow.
also do show quantity left.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, just that, like a lyric sheet, knowing how many are left is great.
Right. I agree. I don't think it's something that a lot of companies do,
Yeah.
but it's definitely helpful.
Yeah. It helps you make a decision about what you're buying or
Right.
if you can put it off.
Yeah. So, if you're familiar with the record recap, I usually write a fictional story about the band and the album. And if you're wondering why I do this nonsense, it's because I'm trying to
We
add
are.
something fresh to the review process. So far, no one's told me no, or stop it, or it sucks. So until then, I'm going to keep writing these silly
You
little stories.
you did give out your email address earlier, so now you can get some of those notes.
Ah, right.
Not from me, of course. I enjoy them.
Yeah. So here we go. Tommy, we need to talk. I can't right now, Mom. I'm an artist and I'm in the flow state. This art piece is something special. If I stop now, I'll lose my momentum. Son, nobody wants your damn artwork made from empty 40-ounce malt liquor bottles. Now, your mother and I need to talk to you, his dad said in a stern voice. Well, Etsy said if I could show them some sales numbers, they might consider putting my art on their site. That would be huge and really would launch my career. His dad walked around picking up his son's artwork. Well, that's the problem, son. You don't have any sales because nobody wants his garbage. I don't even know what this is. Tommy picked it up and looked at it. He said, well, it's like a Mr. Potato Head, but I use a 40-ounce bottle instead. I tried to make it look like Tim Armstrong of Rancid. So there's a long beard using fake hair. And then his dad interrupts him. Stupid. So stupid. And what is this? Well, that's a bowling pin that says victory. I'm working on getting in with the bowling crowd. Since 40s kind of look like bowling pins, I think it would be a great crowd to cater towards. His dad picked up the Tim Armstrong bottle, studied it for a few seconds, and then wound it up like a baseball pitcher and threw it against the wall. Tommy ran over to his shattered dreams and screamed, you asshole. 40-ounce Tim Armstrong was my favorite new piece. Now it's ruined. His mom, with tears in her eyes, said, you're 25. It's time to figure out your future. You can't just work at the gas station and live in our basement making your 40-ounce artwork. Besides, you need to stop drinking 40s all the time. You're out of shape. I'm not just going to dump the 40s down the drain, Mom, so of course I have to drink them, he said, pulling the shirt over his beer gut. He made a face at his mom like, come on, Mom. What is this, amateur hour? Get with the program. I drink the 40s and then use the bottles as artwork, you damn fool. But since they let him live rent-free in their basement, he didn't say what he was really thinking. A month went by, and Tommy knew his parents were serious when they started charging him $200 a month for rent. It was still insanely cheap, but that was $200 less for his art. He needed to make some changes. He spent the night brainstorming and only allowed himself to drink 140 instead of the usual 3. He finally admitted to himself that his dream of being a 40-ounce artist was not going to work. He had no sales, no customers, and it was not healthy drinking 3 of them each night. As he cleaned up his piles and piles of empty 40 bottles, he noticed the exercise actually started to feel good, and that's when it hit him. He would start an exercise program for punks called 40 Reps. Instead of weights, they would use 40-ounce bottles. He knew punks hated gyms, the jocks didn't like seeing mohawks in their area, so they could mess with the punks and so they messed with all the punks, causing them to hate gyms. He figured he could shed a few pounds too. These 40 ounces had a lot of calories. He decided to email Old English 800 with his idea. Maybe they would give him a discount or sponsor him. A week later, Old E responded saying they would give him free 40s, and they wanted to run commercials and advertisements showcasing how 40 ounces was not just an urban or misfit type of beverage. Punks immediately loved the idea. After running a few miles, they could drink a free 40 ounce. Instead of lifting weights, they could lift 40-ounce bottles and then chug the 40 when finished. Edward 40 Hands, based on the movie Edward Scissorhands, was a popular game where you duct taped 40s to your hands and you had to drink them before using the bathroom. This time they incorporated running 1 mile while doing it. It started to get really trendy. Even jocks started showing up. At first, the punks clashed with them. This was their version of the gym. If they hated us, then we hated them. But eventually everyone was buzzed or drunk all the time, so the hate faded away and everyone got along. People of all ages started joining the 40-ounce exercise programs. They checked IDs to make sure everyone was of age. Lots of grandmothers were showing up. Their favorite was picking up the 40-ounce and bringing it above their heads and putting it back down to their feet. They would do 3 sets of 10. Then, of course, they would chug the shit out of the Old E while blasting some Wu-Tang. They felt young and alive.
That's
Planet
exactly
Fitness.
what my grandmother did.
And can you picture our grandmothers doing that?
Yeah, I saw her do it last summer.
Well, so there you go. Awesome. Now,
Sorry to interrupt.
Planet Fitness, jealous that people weren't coming to their gym anymore, ended up getting a sponsorship from Colt 45. But people found it lame that they were trying to cash in on this idea, so it backfired. They were then stuck with skids of Colt 45, which of course somebody ended up stealing all the Colt 45 one night. A year later, as Tommy was moving out of his parents' basement into a new house he bought from being the CEO of 40 Reps, he told his parents, "Thank you for caring about me and pushing me to follow my dreams." They looked puzzled. They told him to quit his dreams, that working with 40 ounces was the dumbest idea of all time. Tommy cracked open a 40 ouncer, and within 15 minutes, he finished it while talking to his parents. He then threw it against their kitchen wall and drunkenly stumbled out of his parents' house, driving away in the sunset with a blood alcohol limit twice the legal limit. So this story was actually inspired after listening to a podcast about the band 40 Reps. So they talked about how they actually did get emails from people who were into weightlifting because their band's called 40 Reps. They just found that online and they figured, 40 Reps must be some kind of weightlifting company. So they would email 40 Reps, the band, asking for like tips or how their company worked and all that. Of course, they had to say we're a band. So that's how I felt compelled to write a story like that. I hope they enjoyed it. And actually, how they got the name 40 Reps was they were brainstorming for band names, and Rebecca, bass player, said, I've never been in a band where there was a numerical number. And someone said, what about 40 Reps? And then that's how it stuck. So then, on a sad note, the Kilograms, which released one of the best albums of 2025 and was May's record of the month, broke up today. Just want to say they will be missed.
I thought they just put out an EP too.
They did, yes.
Oh,
the knife, something of the knife, and that was their last. So I say the Kilograms, a great band, they will be missed.
Yeah.
And
breaking news. You heard it here first.
Yep, you heard it. Well, it's probably a few weeks from now, so you probably have already heard it. So, but
yes, but you said it here first.
Yeah, I said it here first. Do you have any other things to say about 40 Reps, Ryan?
Well, you know what? I like the way that Tim reached out with the review of our review. So if any of the band members and 40 Reps are listening to this, they can review our review as well. I think that we should get that going.
It's a great idea, right? I know when I did the review. I know when I did the review for Radar Waves, he contacted Trev and seemed to like. Actually, quite a few bands have contacted Trev after my story, and actually some people have contacted me as well, send me some
Nice.
emails. So I think these stories, people seem to enjoy them, as stupid as they are. But I got to say, for this story, I didn't really come up with it. They said it on the podcast. They just said it would be funny if there was an exercise program using 40s. So
Yeah.
I ran with that idea. So hopefully
Yeah.
they enjoyed it.
So what you're saying is there is some truth in this story.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So Trevor always likes to scream, "It's fictional, it's fictional." Well, I mean, this one is still fictional, but there is some truth to it, since the band really thought it would be funny if that's what,
Yeah.
if it was something like that that actually existed. So I decided to work with that.
And to be fair, we don't know it doesn't exist.
Right. Exactly. I mean, Edward 40 hands definitely exist. I know I've done that. Me and my friends back in the day. Did you ever do that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, so you just duct tape 40s to your hands, and you can't use the restroom until you finish the 40s. So, obviously some people had some accidents. So,
Good. Makes it more fun.
yeah, exactly.
Um, I guess this is where we could talk about things that we got coming up too. I only mentioned that because you brought up H2O during your review,
Yes, I love
and
H2O.
I'm going to be seeing them this Saturday.
Wow. Very
Their
jealous.
Bouncing Souls are coming through with their
Oh,
East Coast Fuck You tour. So it's Bouncing Souls, H2O, Dave House, if that's how
yeah.
you pronounce his name, I'm not sure. And I think Mercy Union was the fourth.
Wow.
So looking forward to that.
That's gonna be a great show. H2O. So when I grew up as a kid, there was always bands that you saw. Basically, it felt like every 4 months in this place called the Trocadero in Philadelphia. And there's three main bands: H2O, the Bouncing Souls, and the Mighty Mighty Ballstones. Seemed
Oh,
like they
nice.
played nonstop. So I have strong, nostalgia feelings when it comes to seeing H2O live, and the Bouncing Souls as well. It was always those two. So when I saw they were touring together again, honestly, I thought, wow, that was really cool, because back in the day, that's what it was all the time.
Yeah, and of course tonight I'm wearing my Off With Their Heads tour shirt from a couple weeks back.
Oh yeah,
Um, yeah, I actually got into H2O. Oh, we were on a family trip back east, so we were driving somewhere in Pennsylvania, and we stopped at a place where there was a CD store way back then, and I saw they were on Epitaph, and I think it was Faster Than the World, and I just
yeah,
bought that just because it was Epitaph, and dug it. So yeah, I've got most of their CDs for several years after that.
yeah. Great
But
live band. So you're gonna have a lot of
yeah,
fun with that.
yeah, I'm hoping they've got vinyl.
Yeah,
Definitely grab some. Yeah, I'm
yeah. They
looking forward
might.
to that
Yeah,
show.
yeah. It'll be a lot of fun.
Do you have any shows coming up?
No, I just had Hot Water Music recently, a few weeks ago. So
Yeah,
I don't have anything else in the pipeline after that. So last year was a good year. I had got to see Hot Water Music, and then Chuck Reagan solo, and then I got to see the Dreadnoughts and the Rum Jacks. So all four artists that are some of my favorite ones. So it was a good year.
yeah,
So
yeah. Same. I got to. It was a good year for me as well. I got to see Chuck Reagan and Hot Water Music, both myself as well. But West Coast, I also got to see Swingin' Utters.
oh wow,
Third time I've seen them. Uh, Always enjoy their show.
yeah, they're great
Uh,
live,
yeah.
and one of my
Who
favorite
else?
and one of my favorite bands of all time.
Yeah. Earlier this year, of course, I also saw the Drowns and Lower Class Brats.
Oh wow, yeah,
Yeah.
Lower Class played here a few weeks ago. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see that.
Yeah, they played with the Drowns two shows. Not quite back to back, but a month or two apart.
Their
So,
last album was amazing. So if you haven't heard that, it's so good.
um, I guess I haven't heard it, but I bought it.
Yeah.
It's just in the pile that I haven't gotten to yet. So, yeah. need to make some time, obviously. I think
Yeah.
during the holiday break, get a week and a half off from work or so. Might do some updates for the website, uh, and listen to a bunch of music.
Yeah, it sounds like you
So
got some of it piling up.
yeah, yeah, it's time to listen to music.
I hear you.
So I guess we should be plugging the record club. So I would think some of the listeners here are members, but if you're not a member yet, you should head on over to the website and join up. I think it's 1 month, 3 months, and 6 months, maybe a year. I don't know if there's 3 or 4 different options, but try it for a month at least. I say go 3 months just to so you get a little variety mixed in.
Yeah, like I said, I've done it for 6 years in a row without missing a single month, so it's good stuff.
Yeah, I've I've been consistent for Trev's tenure, but I was a little bit sporadic with Mark. But
Right.
yeah, I regret missing some of those records. So yeah, definitely join up. It You're gonna get some punk adjacent. Like we read Tim's review of our review, and so if you missed the previous episode, you can go back and hear that as well, and also hear us introduce ourselves a little bit more. But yeah, like you mentioned, music saved your life and or helped you get through it, or however you want to put it. Um, I I was when you're or talking about some of your anxiety issues, I was just thinking to myself, man, that's kind of I'm coming from anxiety from a different area, because I had chronic depression my entire life, and until about a year and a half, actually coming up on 2 years now, I think, where I finally through therapy got through some of the depression. I didn't realize I had anxiety too. My baseline was depression, so in a way, in a weird twisted way, I actually preferred the depression because I still got shit done. Now
Yeah.
that I've got anxiety at the top, now I don't want to do shit.
Yeah. It's
So,
not
uh,
easy.
yeah, I'm working through it. I'm getting there, but yeah, definitely music helps a lot. Um, Even Clear the Air 2 years ago, I get a different feeling from it now. Now that anxiety is at the top of the list instead of depression.
Yeah.
So, yeah, mental health issues suck. So you got to keep fighting through them.
That's the
And
key. You always just don't give
yeah,
up. Put on your favorite albums, and you'll get
yeah.
through it. It's really as simple as that, at least for me. Just
No, I would add for me, it's music and humor. Humor in a lot of ways. Uh, I've spent a little bit of time in the hospital with a spinal fusion, and so making myself laugh to get through some of that pain. Yeah, and even the lingering pain that still comes now and then. Yeah,
I discovered laughter as well in the past few months. I find that makes things a lot better as well with my
yeah,
anxiety.
yeah,
If you don't take life as seriously, just be like laugh. If something annoys you instead of getting upset, if you just laugh it out and then just move on with your day, makes it a lot
yeah,
easier.
yeah. Sometimes you can't laugh right away, but when you can, yeah,
Right.
definitely. When you're dwelling on it, think of a funny way instead of dwelling on the negative.
I know.
That
That was my biggest problem is I always focused on the negative. I just learned recently after listening to a million different books and whatever that I was actually causing it by being so negative.
yeah, is that where you become whatever you're focusing on? That kind
Yeah.
of yeah. I've heard that similar thing, but yeah. So join the podcast or join the record club, listen to the podcasts, and follow us. Click like and subscribe, and follow us all on Facebook, Twitter, Blue Sky, whatever, wherever we are.
Sounds good.
I'll let Trev announce all of our handles on his own, because I'm sure he
Yeah.
has them. Oh, and don't forget to call in the number that Trev's also going to mention to leave a voicemail for the end of the year episode on the main podcast.
And if you post on Instagram, there's hashtag Struggling Artist Record Club. I don't think anyone uses that. I still sometimes do, if I remember.
Yeah, I don't really post on Instagram that much. I just kind of use it to find out when bands are coming through town.
Yeah.
After I move and get a wood shop set up again, I'll definitely be posting some pictures of my woodworking again, though.